A couple weeks ago, I told you how to take anything that you have built inside of AI and SCORM wrap it. So you can just basically use this link inside of my SCORM driver here, and you can use that link to tell AI to take the interaction and SCORM wrap it. And we took an email simulator interaction that we built, and we SCORM wrapped it from there. If you want to check that video out, you can check that video out here. We're going to take that same simulation, and instead of using the SCORM driver, we're actually going to use the cmi5 driver. So this cmi5 driver will basically take the same type of interaction, and it will use xAPI. If you're not familiar with cmi5, it is a way to package xAPI content. And so if you're sending over different types of data, and with xAPI you can send over a lot more data. You can send over a very specific amount of data, more so than you can with SCORM. If I have tons of videos on my channel about xAPI. So if you want to track more than what's available inside of SCORM, definitely learn more about xAPI. I have a full course on that as well. But we're going to take this and we're going to say, hey, we want to SCORM or cmi5 wrap this email interaction, and then start to add, okay, we'll send over this, send over that, send over different types of verbs as well. I do talk about where you can find the different verbs, so if you want to check that out, I'll link to the video here as well. But let's go ahead and take this link specifically for the cmi5 package, and then we're going to go into Claude, and I already in the last video I did the SCORM wrapper, so we're okay there, but we're going to just go ahead and say, now I want to create and use the cmi5 package found here instead of the SCORM driver. So take the initial HTML and use this wrapper instead, add the HTML inside of the content folder, and then still track completion and past, score, and quiz questions, but also track other standard cmi5 data. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and see what it does by taking that same interaction that we had before. We can use the same chat, we can start a new chat. I can download that HTML file and start a new chat and say, hey, with this HTML file and with this link, wrap it up together. I would highly suggest if your LMS does use cmi5 to use cmi5, because you can get a lot more data out of cmi5 than you can with SCORM. I think LMSs have dragged their feet for too long to get cmi5 working. Some LMSs do have it working, but they also don't take advantage of it. And I almost am more concerned about LMSs in this vibe coding world, because you could vibe code your own LMS and you could basically go in and create your own type of a learning experience as well. So I'd almost, if I was an LMS, I'd be worried a little bit, and I'd make sure that I support the latest standards. Because why not? You're an LMS. You could track, your whole identity is to track learning data. And if you're just sticking with SCORM, you're not tracking all of the learning data that you could. So it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit angry about LMSs and them like dragging their feet. But then you have tools like Build Capable's XCL that just go beyond. They're more, to me, they're more of what an LMS should be. Being able to track content and to upload SCORM content, cmi5 content, doesn't matter, and to track it all from wherever the content is. So I don't know. I think LMSs need to step up their game there. All right, so let's go ahead and wait for this to generate. And then I'm going to, just like we did with our SCORM interaction, we're going to use SCORM Cloud to upload and track that. But it tracks it a little bit differently. It will track more data, and I'll show you how to get that data out of there. So let's go ahead and just wait for this to generate first, though. Okay, so we have our Acme inbox simulator right here. Go ahead and download that so you can see the cmi5, but you can also see like it does the initialize, it does the attempted, it does pages viewed, or in this case, the emails viewed, and so it'll send over that. Already so much more data out of this, and if I take this and I upload it to something like XCL by Build Capable, then I could just create a link that anybody can use and track it, so it's pretty awesome there. All right, so let's come in here and let's click on Add Content and click on Upload, and I'm going to click on Browse, and then I'm going to click on the simulator and click on import there. You can tell I'm a little bit passionate about that because I have my own platform that it's kind of like an LMS. It's not directly like an LMS, but because I deliver mostly video-based training. And so I was using another platform that I won't call out specifically, I've mentioned before, but it wasn't doing what I needed it to do. So I vibe coded my own platform. And so I was able to create a platform that now tracks completion when the videos play. And it will resume where you left off in the video, and it will create certificates. And I had full control over that. So that's why I think LMSs are dragging their feet, and they're going to get left behind if they don't step up their game there. I'm going to go ahead and click on launch here. And I'm going to click launch here. I guess I have more beef with LMSs than I do authoring tools. I'm not sure why. But anyways, let's come in here and click on the interaction and then click on there. Okay. I'm going to try to get all of these correct. So let's advise. Okay. I'm just trying to read it to make sure I get it correct here. Advise, immediately disclose, conflict. Yep. And then ask Lena to fill employer's name. Let's do this. And then advise Tom that personal use for company. There we go. And then also decline the request, explain that the sharing the client data is extremely discouraged. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to hit close here. And you can see we get a completion just like we get with SCORM. We get success passed. We get 100%. It really only took me 37 seconds. But this is what's different here. So instead of that debug log, I can go into view registration statement history. And then I could see all of this data. So I have initialized, I have attempted, I have viewed, they viewed the thank you dinner email, I have correctly answered, they experienced and viewed. Maybe I don't want to say experienced and viewed on both of them, but you can see viewed heads up. And I think experience is when they leave the page, just like it does with Storyline, it tracks all of that. Then I could go into something like veracity, and I could have, they just announced like this AI data where you could just go upload all this and use AI to create some of the data for you, which is mind-blowing. This, I'm like, why are we dragging our feet? So much more data out of xAPI and cmi5 packages. Even if you still deliver it through an LMS, through cmi5, you could still even send over the data to a learning record store. We just need to, I don't know. I'm passionate about that. This is why I love xAPIs, because we can get more out of it. We can get more data out of it. We can track more of what the learner is doing, which then informs us of how the learning experience is. And we can improve the learning experience from there. So this is just some things that honestly, I feel like we're dragging our feet still, but AI can now help us do it better. We don't have to learn and memorize xAPI statements or learn code. We could just have xAPI do it for us. And so it's like we're in the prime time to be able to use xAPI. I'll try to get off my soapbox here, but it's something that I think we need to start using as an industry. Okay, so you can see we have a progress, a completion, satisfied. All of that data is there. All I needed to do was basically just take the link that cmi5 wrapped everything and then upload that zip file from Claude and upload it to my learning management system. Right here, if I come into Claude, I just want to check out, because last time before I started doing all this, I want to check out my usage. Right now I'm about 58%, so it did take up a lot of my usage. I was about 22 before I started this, or like a little bit more than that. So it does take up usage, and that's what goes back to, and I was mentioning this in this previous video, it goes back to the fact that I don't think AI is going to anytime soon replace e-learning authoring tools. I think it'll replace some, so we don't have to build everything inside of that. But we could just focus on single interactions with AI and put those inside of Rise, put those inside of Storyline. But I think a Storyline and Rise and Captivate and other tools will need to adapt to be more like AI, like prompts, but make it easier for us to create learning-specific interactions. And one thing that Rise does really well is I can upload documentation, and then I can define learning objectives that I want to cover inside of there, and then it builds content based off of that. That's really where I think Rise and Storyline can stand out, is basically taking that instructional design perspective and using tools that kind of cater to that. I'm not going to go in and say that e-learning authoring tools are dead. They're definitely not. They're definitely not dead. But there are some things that you could do, like a single interaction, that I could just quickly create, upload to my learning management system. And if I could do that all within my credits, great, and deliver something that is SCORM wrapped. All right, so I think I've covered a lot and I've vented a lot. This has been good for me. But let's go ahead and come into, if you want to check out more, you can head on over to my website, eLearningDojo.ninja. You can check out free tools, my prompts tool where I created the interaction. I have other JavaScript helper tools. I have Dream Crusher tool as well. You could also check out previous blog posts as well. You could check out full courses, which I think I announced this in my last video, but I am creating a full course on how to build custom e-learning inside of Claude Code from A to Z. I emphasize a lot during that course that it does take up a lot of credits when you're doing something like this, so that is something to keep in mind. So that will come out in a couple of weeks, maybe by the time this video actually releases as well. And then you can also check out downloads and download free templates and other things like that. That's all I have for today, so thanks everyone. I'll see you next time.